I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Board of Leavenworth County Commissioners. I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, all three commissioners are present. I'd like to change the agenda around just a little bit. We have an audit I'd like to get through because I want to allow plenty of time for public comment. I don't want to cut it short. So this time, could we, or we need to wait till 9:05 to start the audit. I guess we could approve the OCBs.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got that out. We can approve the minutes if the commissioner had a chance to read the
I
minutes.
have motion to approve the minutes of,
Two sets.
session 1 of May 30th, 2017.
So moved. Second.
Voting.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'll make approval of the minutes of May 30th, 2017, session 2.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
Aye. And approval of the bills for the month of May.
I move approval of the bills that we have authorized and signed for the month of May.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
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 Okay. Do we have any, go ahead and start, all right, we'll go ahead and start with the audit.
Today we have Karen Lynn here, who is the managing partner of our audit for Leavenworth County for December 31st, 2016. She will present the audit, answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Appreciate the opportunity to present the results of the audit to you. I believe you have 3 documents in front of you. The one that I want to spend the most of the time on is the one that's entitled Report to the Board of County Commissioners. This report is the summary of the results of the audit and the things that are important for us as your auditor to convey to you. I'm going to turn to just past the table of contents if you want to follow along in that book. Our responsibility is to perform the audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and also the Single Audit Act because of the fact that you receive some federal dollars, and also the Kansas Municipal Audit and Accounting Guide. All of those require that we plan and perform the audit so that we can form an opinion as to whether the financial statements are free of material misstatement. These financials are prepared in accordance with the regulatory basis of accounting, which is the basis that the state of Kansas allows for those municipalities that are choosing to not report in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So in accordance with that regulatory basis, we were able to issue an unmodified opinion, which is the highest form of opinion that can be given to a set of financial statements. As a part of the audit process, we of course look at financial statement amounts and disclosures related to the financial statements. We also look at accounting policies to make sure that they are appropriate, that they're consistently applied, and that there are no unusual items within those policies that we need to bring to your attention. If there are any significant or unusual transactions, again, we would take a look at those and make sure to bring anything that's identified there to your attention. We did have some adjusting journal entries that were made as a part of the audit process. These are included in this packet. They're towards the back. There's 6 of those. None of these are considered to be significant in terms of their impact on the financial statement process, either because of the timing or because of the nature of what they are. But they're provided here for your information if you would like to take a look at those adjusting journal entries. Similarly, we identified an adjusting journal entry that was not made to the financials. We call it an uncorrected misstatement. It was identified as a part of the financials, but we didn't correct it because of its insignificance to the financial statements, both qualitatively and quantitatively. And so that is also reported there in a table in the back of this packet. We would bring to your attention if there were any issues or problems during the audit process, things like disagreements about any accounting matters or difficulties in obtaining the information we needed to finish or to go through the audit. any issues at all like that, we would make sure to bring to your attention probably much earlier than today. We wouldn't have waited till the end of the process. Also included within this packet are 2 letters, both of them on the county's letterhead. These letters are information that are required by our audit standards to have in writing to us at the end of the audit process. These are things that are discussed during the audit process or that are policies underlying the financial statements. The information in both of these letters are good information and to help assist in digesting all of the financial information that is in the financial statement packet. So we do encourage you to read through those letters and ask any questions that you might have about anything that you find in those documents. The reason why there are 2 letters is one is related to the financial statements themselves, and the second is related to the single audit work and the work that we did on the federal programs. That work is included in the single audit report, which is one of the other documents that you have here. That report lists the findings that were identified during the test work on the federal programs. We did test 2 programs this year for our test work. Those are the formula grants for rural areas and also the aging grants. We did identify some significant deficiencies in those programs, and those are listed starting on page 11 in that report. The follow-up and management's response to those are also included within this document, so that you can see what has been done to correct those findings. For the formula grants for rural areas, that particular grant has not been carried forward into fiscal year 17, and so the response on that one is there's really nothing to do in terms of correcting that in the new grant because that grant has been discontinued. But all of that information and management's response is included in that packet. So those are the conclusions from the audit process, and I would be happy to provide more detail or answer any questions that anyone might have.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Karen?
We might ask Mr. Lawfrey if he has any comment, considering his background, knowledge, skill, talent.
And his first year here with the audit?
I worked with the clerk's office throughout the audit. We had a couple of questions that came up. One of them I think you'll see in the single audit as a carryover from the previous year. I think that the auditor was just mentioning that some of those go away because we no longer have those grants, but it's compliance with some federal reporting and how they account for hours specifically is what we were running into some issues with. Again, it's a carryover. It's one that we had in previous year as well, concern. I have talked with the clerk about that and also with the department director for the Agency on Aging, because that's where the issue is coming from. We are all in agreement, and we'll be discussing it here probably in the next week or so with the board, that we feel it would be beneficial for the county if we brought on a grant compliance officer, which would be in the way of an accountant or something who could work specifically with these grants, because a majority of the funding for the Agency on Aging is coming through a pass-through grant that comes out of Wyandotte County, but it's a federal grant, and not being compliant impacts our ability to receive that grant, not only that grant, but all federal grants, and it also impacts the potential of having to pay it back if we were found to not be compliant on a continuing basis, and if it was intentionally negligent, which it's not, but it's just a reporting issue. So we will be coming to the board and recommending that we add a position that would be a grant compliance officer, kind of an internal auditor, if you want to call it that. So, but overall, I think that the financials show well for the county. Our cash carryover, our cash balances are up, not down. The compliance, there were no significant issues that came up as far as misstatement lines of compliance with the reporting for some federal grants. It's not that we were spending the money wrong, it's just how we allocate hours of employees' work that were creating a majority of the issue that came up. So overall, I think it was a good audit.
I think we'd all discussed this earlier, that a person employed to write grants would save their salary and then some.
And not
Bring
just
in
to
a lot of
write
money to
grants,
the
but also to make sure that we stay compliant with the reporting for those grants. So
Right.
somebody who could work directly with our auditor when they find things like this, and also with our staff to make sure they're reporting it. And then specifically for this grant, the area agency grant, or the agency on aging, excuse me, because it's a pass-through grant, it's even another step in that it gets audited through Wyandotte County, who passes the money through to us, then we have an audit. So we report to our auditors, we report internally, and we report to Wyandotte County. So it's a fairly complex grant, and I think it would be beneficial to have somebody who could, who specializes in that type of thing.
And that department's seen a significant reduction in funding through the state.
I think all grants have seen reductions in recent years.
Yeah.
I guess that was going to be one of my questions that you just answered, is if we were in compliance with, being we got rid of the problem area last year, that if that would carry over to this year, but you're saying now that it does not carry over.
Well, with some of the grants, but there's still the main
But-
grant that we
right,
receive is still,
right.
and that's where
And
the
it's in-
issue with the
but
tracking
it
some
is,
of the hours.
it is now in compliance.
We believe so, but we fixed it halfway through
Don't
last
say
year.
we believe so.
Well,
say
until
yes.
we receive the next audit, we won't. I mean, because we corrected it actually last year. Staff was pretty confident that they had corrected it, but we were over halfway through the year.
Yeah.
So that same finding came up. We believe that we have fixed it, and that we also are
Well-
confident we'll have a clean audit. But I still think it would be beneficial because of the complexities of it if we had somebody who
As me thinking on this is the being out of that particular grant, that I would assume that we would be in compliance. But as I talked with the clerk, it's a possibility that we weren't in compliance, but now you're saying that it's a possibility we are in compliance now, being we no longer have that grant.
Well, the grants that are no longer here obviously won't be a problem going forward.
Okay,
Any other questions, commissioners?
and they can't come back on us.
I don't believe so. I don't think
Okay.
anything we've done would be considered negligent.
Okay.
I have no more questions.
I
commissioners?
have none.
Okay.
Well, doesn't take a motion or anything, Karen wanted to present it. Certainly, if you have questions, once you review these, more in the future, she is available, I'm available, Mark's available to answer any questions that the board may have.
Okay. All right,
Yeah, I
thank
would
you.
like to have the chance and the time to go over the single audit.
And we'll make sure that you have our number and whatever
Okay.
you need.
Okay,
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay.
Thank you.
And now we'll open up the portion of public comment. I want to give everybody a chance to speak and have plenty of time. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address.
Gary Starcher, 18326 182nd Street, Tonganoxie. And we'd like to see if we could get something done with our gravel roads. The traffic from the construction on the south end,
The KTA bridge.
oh, okay. I was gonna say, I didn't know we had trouble on the gravel roads.
No, the Kansas Turnpike has replaced the bridge on the south end of
Right,
182nd.
I know.
Yeah.
we have new homes construction at Evans and 182nd Street. We get all the concrete trucks.
Can I ask you a question? You say you want something to do with the gravel roads. Is there not enough gravel on them? Are you having potholes?
Dust control. and it's-
Dust control.
Dust
is probably-
control, all the above.
I don't see how we can, I don't know. I don't think the funding's there for dust control.
Well, now we understand that the funding is there.
I guess the clerk could ask him, answer that question.
Well, I looked at some funding, I certainly don't want to speak for Road and Bridge, but if the estimate is, $10,000 to $12,000 to dust control the 3 roads that were brought up previously, then yes, I do do believe that we have that funding.
Well, this would be in addition, this would be, the three roads previous was 178th,
Right.
150th Street, and McIntyre stretch.
I
Right.
thought it was 182nd, too, but
182nd came when the bridge was taken out and the construction has been,
well,
uh,
I believe that we do have the funding if the board decides it. But there again, I'm not speaking on behalf of Road and Bridge.
But I think we need
But I
to,
do believe the funding would be available.
I think we need to talk with
Mhm.
David before we do anything.
But if
Well-
they're having this much trouble, I think it's our obligation to look into it.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I actually, after the last gentleman came in and voiced his concern about 182nd, I did ask Public Works to go down and take a look at the road and do some traffic
Mhm.
counts.
Have
And I
you
did-
heard from them?
I did. I get, just at the end of last week, actually, I had a report back from the Public Works Director, and at the time, he did not feel that the traffic counts were there. that
I
there were other
believe, didn't he
issues.
say that in the meeting, that he,
He did. and I
as he
can
was
forward you
leaving, he
that.
said that he didn't think the traffic counts warranted the
That's-
dust
that-
control.
That's what he said, and that's also what he
Right.
reported after they did a traffic count. But, I mean, there's no budget for it, but that doesn't mean that funds aren't available. That's what the clerk is
Right.
identifying. So, but I can have Mr. Luchin come up this Thursday and just provide, during administrative discussion, just provide a brief update on that if you'd like.
Well, it kind of appears it isn't just the ordinary traffic that's causing the problem. It's these heavy trucks that are involved in the construction of the bridge, and
Mhm.
that's causing the problem on the road.
Yeah,
Well-
I'll have Mr. Luchin come up on Thursday and provide you with a
I
brief.
guess too, what I want to say is that, of course, I understand nobody likes dusty roads, but I live on one too. But when did you make reference that there was 2 homes being built down there and they were getting concrete trucks and that's part of growing. I mean, that,
Well,
but the bridge,
understand that.
yeah, the bridge itself is being replaced, so that's not
Part
our
of growing
bridge.
also is
Right.
upgrading the roads,
yeah,
right?
we're gonna, the county's gonna do the dirt work until the bridge approaches.
Right.
It is gonna be our project.
Well,
I mean,
it's-
the bridge, the
thought
turnpike's
it
putting the
was-
bridge in, but we will be doing the approaches.
Approaches,
That's because it's an offset right now, it's gonna
Right.
be straight.
okay.
So it is gonna be our project, but, and I'm sure there is a lot of traffic coming off of State Avenue and heading
Right.
straight, you know, they're gonna, because there's no turnpike exit down there. So,
And let me ask you this, the dust control would be great, don't get me wrong. But wouldn't it be more sensible to spend that money and go ahead and chip and seal that road and be done?
well, and I'm sure you guys have gotten your petitions.
Oh,
all
yeah.
that, And then.
We've had them since 2013. When this first
Well,
started.
Yeah, they were the first, yeah, that's right, but you had a couple holdouts that.
No, we didn't have any holdouts. I've got all the names.
Got all the signatures, well.
From 2013.
Yeah.
Is it still on the list?
No, it was removed from the list, but
Right.
now they're gonna get it back on there.
Yeah, because
on the
I
different-
think it was removed from the list because of lack of all the signatures.
Yeah, but they got all the signatures.
I've got
now.
all the signatures that are dated 2013. We was told that same thing, but it's not true.
Yeah.
Well, I know that would be the way to go, but they couldn't get scheduled this year. I think the best that we could do this year would be dust control on 182nd.
Yeah, because I think David mentioned that he was going to be hard pressed because of the
Yeah.
labor situation.
Yeah,
That he would not be, he may not even
but once
get.
you get 207th Street out of the
Yeah.
way and we change the
Right.
standard on the PRP,
Right.
they ought to be able to get a lot more roads done.
That's right.
But we're kind of tied up on 207th Street, but to get these projects on the shelf and ready is a big thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a big step in getting things done.
I agree.
And like I said, I'm sure the funding's there to do these because like I said, I mean, just the snow removal budget alone should have taken care of this, the savings we had
Well,
this
the
last
gravel
winter.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
But again, I'd like to reiterate.
Yeah, we don't.
We need to
but like I
talk to
said, I
David
mean,
first.
And like the clerk has said, that she's identified some funding, but like I
Right.
said,
But, but does David have something else in mind for this funding? Because as he sees it, the road count isn't there.
mhm.
And so he may have something else. That's why I just reiterate that we need to have a briefing from him.
Okay.
Well, we've got
Well, like I
six
said,
people here that'll disagree about the road count.
Okay.
I mean, you
I-
can't just do a drive-by and say, yeah, that ain't bad.
No, I don't think he did a drive-by.
well, I guess we could make a motion to do
Well,
it
Chairman,
if funding's
we do
available.
have a gentleman that wishes to speak.
Uh,
All you gotta do is drive down that road, you know
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I know you got an increased amount of traffic because of the project, and it is heavy
And
vehicles.
the rock they put down there is just dust,
Yeah, heavy trucks will grind it up.
yeah.
It's ground up before it gets to the ground.
Yeah,
It's no good.
yeah. Any thoughts, commissioners? Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward, state your
I live
name.
on 182nd as well. I second Gary's opinion on chip and seal due to drainage problems I've had. Just from gravel, heavy rains wash, you guys installed new culvert pipes, and gravel plugs the pipes up, and it almost flooded my house. We had a heavy rain that was, I believe we had almost 6 inches in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and it completely flooded the whole backyard. And I think that the chip and seal would be a good idea, just due to drainage, the runoff, the culverts. So I stand
Well,
here on that.
We had a meeting probably in 13 at the city of Lansing when we first started the PRP, and your road was number 1, I think, at the time. So it's no, and it got kicked down the roads somehow.
We've
Yeah.
been told they was gonna do something, Doug, for 15 years.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was at that meeting, and I'm pretty sure most of you were at that meeting. That's been
Chairman,
over 4 years ago.
Are we gonna have Mr. Luchin up Thursday, is that right?
I think we need to wait till we hear from our staff before
Yeah.
we make a decision.
Well, hate to keep kicking
Yeah.
this down the road, and these
We can
people
make a
keep
decision
coming.
Thursday. I mean,
Okay.
it's not gonna get done any sooner, because it has to be scheduled in, can we get still signed up for the dust abatement?
Oh, I'm sure when you get that much, you
Yeah,
can.
okay, because there's a certain timeline that we have to go by.
Yeah, that's why we
Right.
do it, and then they go on. But,
Right.
but
Then they
if
can-
it's
then they can say-
tanker loads, yeah, you can get it.
Okay.
I'm sure.
I don't know.
It's just
that.
it's just the short loads that are
Right.
difficult. As long as it's a full load, you can probably get it at any time.
Yeah,
But I think dust control is the best we could do this year. We couldn't get anything scheduled, but I'm hoping next year, I'm hoping we can get one done this year.
Yeah.
On the new roads, on the new PRP standard.
yeah.
And
I would like
he was
to-
looking at, on McIntyre doing that one possibly. But like I said, if we're gonna save 80% on these projects, we should be able to do 80% more roads.
Right.
I mean.
You'd think.
You would think. And
What's your estimate on the 3/4 of a mile? How much?
on doing we'd have to grade, clean the ditches, replace some of the culverts, maybe in the crossroad culverts, that if they need it.
Would this meet the criteria for,
182nd?
yeah,
I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's not a lot, the vertical and horizontal
right,
curves.
there's no long curves or
No,
nothing?
no,
So
it's a
it
straight
would meet
shot.
It would be a straight shot and would
The
meet.
first quarter mile's already done.
Right.
It's already blacktop on the south end. And so you're not even talking a full mile to
Right,
do.
because what is it, $1 million for a mile?
Not now, not on the new one.
No,
Not on the new standard, it
No.
wouldn't be.
no,
You know, he said he'd save 80%, and we were doing $500,000 a mile on the other ones. When the county did the project instead of a contractor. But, all right, so we're gonna make a decision on Thursday, is that, we will make a
I hope.
decision?
Yes.
yes.
Uh,
Okay.
All right, anyone else wishing to speak on this?
Only thing I was gonna say is just like you're talking on this dust control
Mm-hmm.
type of thing, and I don't know what kind of studies have been done. I know other areas as far as the toxicity of the
Mhm.
dust,
Mm-hmm.
how it affects people's health,
Mm-hmm.
the plants, the yards, the homes. Our property values are going down daily. I can sit there in my house, I'm retired at this point, and from 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the morning, it is hazardous to try and get out of your driveway.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot see for
Right.
over an eighth of a mile either direction up and down that road.
We actually put asphalt millings on that road a few years ago to try to put a Band-Aid on it.
And that was a
So,
disaster.
yeah, they just raveled apart. There's too much traffic for the asphalt millings.
And,
So-
you know, like I said, this has been going on since 2013. I was
Right.
personally involved in getting the signatures.
Right,
for that.
right.
There was a meeting held when we were supposed to sign off with a notary to start the
Mhm.
project. That blew up.
Mhm.
The commissioner at that time did not bring a notary to the meeting.
Mhm.
The engineer did not bring the notary.
Mhm.
They did absolutely nothing. We were told with the previous administration, the money was there, it was allocated.
Mhm.
All we need is signatures. Here's the
Mhm.
signatures. Nothing was done again.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, we're gonna make a decision Thursday,
Yeah.
correct, commissioners?
Yes.
All right. On dust control on the PRP, the existing PRP roads and 182nd Street, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. We will make a decision Thursday.
You've got my opinion, but that's it.
Well, all right.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Dave Gilbert, 15028 150th Street. I have been to like how many meetings begging you guys to vote
Mhm.
on our road?
Mhm.
And it's ready to go. And that's why my new friend, said there was funding for it, and I was told there was funding for it. And we just keep waiting and waiting, and he talks about the health hazards. My son's a cancer patient. How much more health hazard can you get? He has a third of a lung.
Right.
And I'm begging you guys to vote on this.
Well, we did your road last year, and like I
You
said,
did
I
our
think
road.
we're obligated to continue doing them
Well, I
roads that
think
were
these
on the
100% should be
PRP.
grandfathered in, whether the previous administrative did not want us all having it, and that was his problem. But if we vote, I mean, we've
No,
done
you
our
guys did
due
everything you were
diligence.
supposed to
We've done
do
it,
to get on
yes.
the PRP.
And it's just not fair, and I can't keep coming up these meetings, because that's a long way for me to drive.
Mhm.
You know, Thursday, David Lucian should have been here today, because we should have had an answer today. I mean, how many meetings have I come up for answers?
My name's Janine Bush, I live at 15418 150th, and we've already missed our deadline to pay a third party to
Mhm.
have our dust control done. So we are desperate.
Yeah, we provided it last year.
Right,
I
right,
think we
that
should
was
provide it
wonderful.
again this year.
And we are anxiously awaiting something to happen, so.
Because the 3 roads that we provided the dust control last year was on the PRP. And I mean, that was the deal. You got 100% signed up under that PRP program. We provided dust control until the road was done.
So when will that happen this summer?
Gotta get another commissioner to approve it Thursday.
Why do we have to wait for David here? I thought you guys pulled the string. I thought when you vote on something, then your heads of your departments, that's what they go by. I mean, that's what you're voted in for.
Yeah.
So why can't you vote on it when she's already told you the money's there? It is possible, and if you get it on the books, then he can order this stuff. Do we need to I'll find a driver for the
I'll
truck.
call today to see if chemical's available and the availability of chemical
Okay.
and what it is. And tell them that we may be voting on
No, you're
needing
not.
some.
You're gonna vote on Thursday,
We
right?
are going to vote
What
on
time are
Thursday.
we gonna be here on Thursday?
We're going to address that issue on Thursday.
Okay, so I bring donuts and coffee.
No, I don't need them.
I'm just ready
None
for
of us
a
need
vote,
them.
guys. I'm sorry. but
I am
It's just
too.
been down the road and we're back and forth, and it's like playing badminton. And I'm like not good at it. So,
Yeah.
Thursday morning, 9 o'clock.
We will vote on this.
Okay.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak?
Joe Herring, surveying 315 North 5th. So just two things. One, we have a resolution coming up on agenda. Want to make sure and confirm that's going to be open to
Joe,
public
speak
comment.
up a bit. I'm not getting a word you're saying.
The resolution that's coming before you on agenda, just want to make sure that's going to be open to public comment.
Absolutely.
Okay, and two, there's been a lot of times we've been up here, not myself, but several developers, and there's been comments made about might be time to revamp our regulations and sit down and address those. Want to see if there's anybody looking into forming a committee of the departments that need to be involved, as well as the community people, developers, professionals, and get that looked at, so we can spend less time up here in front of you or the BZA and more time out there developing property. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Then we'll close this portion of public comment. Have any administrative business, Mark?
I have been meeting with all the departments on their budget. I have two more this afternoon, which will complete any of the meetings that I needed to do. And then look to schedule probably next Thursday as a work session for you guys to start reviewing all the departmental budgets.
Okay.
I'll kick it off with a review and then bring from there. So far looks really good, and I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. All right. So, Molly, have anything? Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to give a summary of the meeting you went to.
Yeah, I did. It's very interesting. I went to the county commission conference in Junction City. Some of the hot topics are unmanned aircraft, the drones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much FAA rules all airspace, so commissioners aren't going to be able to pass anything to try to regulate that. And then, of course, on personal property tax, stuff like that, and the tax lid, stuff like that. It was interesting.
I was kind of interested in how the other commissioners felt about the tax lid. Were most of them for it or against it? Did you see it?
Most of them are against it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They feel like it's a local control issue.
Right.
Yeah. But most people are not having trouble complying with it that I talked to.
Yeah.
But there are some less fortunate counties, I'll put it,
Right.
that are having some difficulty.
I think we're very fortunate.
We are
county.
very fortunate to live in this part of the
Yeah.
state. Very
Because
fortunate.
we're going to be able to stay within our tax lid.
Right. When
And-
your economy depends on oil and gas and agriculture, they're having some issues.
Yeah.
They're suffering, and they are going to run, so their taxes. go
Right.
up. It's got to be funded.
Yeah.
So, but no, we're very fortunate, and we'll see how this year goes.
I would also be interested in if any of them have to go out for a vote on raising their taxes. If people will see the need, or if they'll say, no, this is just another way to raise our taxes, no, I'm going to vote for it.
Right. And
You can anticipate that.
I
know.
never talked to anybody that said they were going to go out for a vote.
Oh, you didn't?
But it's kind of early on too
Yeah.
in the budget.
Yeah. with
Until they get their budget
Until the
and have a
budget
chance to
gets
review
done,
it,
but-
then they're not really gonna know whether they need to do that or even going to attempt it.
I don't even know how you'd get a vote done this year by the time you do your budget. But
I don't either.
it'll be interesting. This year's the learning curve.
Yeah.
We'll get through it. We'll get through
Well,
it.
like I say, we're
We're
fortunate.
fortunate. We really are.
So I think we can.
And if
get
you
through
look
it.
at our tax rate to other counties,
Yeah.
and I spoke with Mr. Weber this morning, and I thanked him for the job he's done, because I've heard a lot of people complain about their appraisers, and I thought, we are so fortunate. So, but anyways, any other administrative business?
Nope.
Then we'll move
I just-
on to planning and zoning. We're not too late, Jeff. We ran 5 minutes over.
That was my fault, because I was asking a question.
Yeah, it's all our fault.
Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is case number DEV-17-066, Tonganoxie Library Run. The applicant, David Freese, is requesting a temporary special use permit for the Tonganoxie Library Run, which is their annual fundraising event, which will be held this Saturday, June 10th, in the morning from 6:30 to about 10:30. It's their 30th year of doing this fundraiser. It's their big fundraiser for the year. The ride starts in the town of Tonganoxie, but then is on county-maintained local roads, I think Evans.
Did you
for
say
the
30 years they've been doing it?
30 years approximately.
30 years.
So this
Wow.
is,
Their Tongi days has really evolved into a big thing.
Yeah.
right.
Well, I would say this is your district. You can
All right.
make the motion or.
Make a motion to approve the temporary special use permit for the Tonganoxie Library. Run.
Second.
There's Commissioners, there's
Oh,
a
public hearing.
Yeah.
correct,
Okay.
and also the application was not submitted within 30 days, which is the standard regulation. So we would request that if the TSUP were to be approved, that a waiver be granted to allow them, since it was not submitted
Okay.
within that 30-day.
Well, I'm sure not going to take part in eliminating the 30-year run.
Yeah, I mean, you've been planning on running in this for a long time, haven't you?
That's right.
So, we'll open this up for a public hearing. Anyone here wishing to speak for this temporary special use permit?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, my name is David Freese. I live at 1012 Pleasant Street in Tonganoxie. I'm a race director of the Tonganoxie Library Run and a member of the Tonganoxie Library Board. As David said, this is our 30th year for the Tonganoxie Library Run. Major fundraiser. We used to be, up to about 4 years ago, we would lose money on the run. It was just kind of a public service, but in the past 4 years, since some of us have taken over, we've raised close to $35,000 for the library through the library run, thanks to the generosity of the local business community, and we've really increased our runners from about 75 to about 300.
Whoa,
So
that's good.
we're doing really, really well. We have to go out to the county. There were questions that David asked me about how we keep our runners safe. We start early, 7:30 in the morning. Most of the runners are off the county roads by 8:30. We run against the traffic so that the runners can see the cars coming. We have a gator leading the first runner and trailing the last runner. We post runners on road signs beyond 198th Street and at the intersection at 206th Street. We have volunteers stationed at every crossroad and a lot of driveways, just to tell people, hey, we've got runners on the road, especially look out for our kiddos, and just ask them to slow down and maybe go another way if that's possible. And in the past, we've had an ambulance at 206th Street that also has helped us out. So, and then after I leave today, I'll touch base with Leavenworth County EMS and local police and local fire and make sure that we're all in good shape. But any questions y'all have, I'm glad to answer them.
I don't have any questions,
No.
Commissioners. All right, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Anyone to speak against this temporary special use permit? Seeing none, we'll close this portion of public comment. So we're going to need a motion to waive the 30 days
So moved.
and to approve the permit
They also asked for the fee to be waived.
and the fee to be waived. All right.
So do we need 3 motions?
I think you can do it all.
Roll it all into one.
Okay.
So moved.
Second, voting.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
You need a resolution.
Now we
Resolution.
have resolution number what?
No, I'm sorry, wrong resolution.
Wrong resolution.
Wrong number.
That's it. I didn't see one.
Wrong number.
This is the one you need.
Okay. Ready for your resolution for waiving variance fees? All right.
It's basically a resolution to waive the fees for the BZA. If You know, if
Thank you.
the applicant receives a letter from the Planning and Zoning Department saying that it's a buildable lot, so that's what the commission talked about last time, so basically this resolution is for that purpose.
Okay.
And so basically, it's just, it gives you authority to waive the fee?
Correct.
Right.
So the $300 will be waived.
Are you on board with this? Are you all
Yes, sir.
right? It's not putting any undue stress on you or anything like that?
No, sir. No.
No.
Mr. Herring, did you wish to speak on this?
Joe Herring Surveying, 315 North Fifth Street, and I don't want to speak for Dave Till on this, but the concerns with this, I understand that, you know, this waives the fees, that's all we're doing here. Does this still leave open the discussion about how the board will view previous planners' letters? Or is this stating that if someone has a letter stating from the previous planner that the tract was buildable, that they still have to go to the BZA? Is that what this is resolving?
This is just as we discussed last time when this came up. The first step was to try to get this waived so that anybody who wanted to move forward while we're working out the details can do that. We still need to resolve whether legally we can do certain things. I think what the board had discussed is to allow Mr. Joseph to act in a manner that would allow them to grant a variance without going through a committee. We're still reviewing that process, but this was the first step we said we'd bring forward, just to waive the fees.
And that's what we were trying to confirm, that this
Yep.
wasn't closing the case, and that,
No.
you know, try to get rid of that variance word off of those other letters would probably be a big step.
This is just the first step. This is
Okay,
not the final
that's
step.
exactly what.
I was gonna say, this is not the whole thing.
All right, thank
We're
you.
waiting on legal. Like I said, that'd be my vote would be to just grant Mr. Joseph the authority to grant a variance on something like that and not have to go through all the hoops.
And we're looking at all of our legal options for that, and we'll bring that back to the board as soon as we can get a good report for you.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
On this resolution, the county councilor did notice that it says May instead of June at the bottom, because we wrote this at the end of May, so that needs to be amended to June.
Or it could just say may be in the month of June. All right. So you want to correct that?
May to June.
It's just
Just
a-
approve,
it's just
just
a
approve
script.
to the resolution today, and then we'll sign the corrected document.
Yeah, that's right, we can have it, but in just a minute
Yeah,
after the
just
meeting
go
for you
over
to
it.
sign.
Okay. All right.
So we need a resolution number,
Well, we need to approve the resolution, correct?
We need the number.
34.
34. Motion to approve resolution number 2017-34.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
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 Anything else? Mark, anything else? So a motion to adjourn?
The only thing, don't forget Safety Days is this Friday.
Yep. And have a juvenile correction advisory board meeting in Atchison, but we'll make both of them.
Would you, which one do you want to go to? I can go to Safety
I'll
Days.
go to both of them.
You can go to both of them?
Yeah, Safety Days starts what?
Oh,
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I could go up to the,
Yeah. Oh, I can make both of them.
okay.
You guys have covered for me enough on these other things that you went to. But anyway, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, voting.
Aye.
Aye.